The newest TFT patch has just dropped, and with a new patch comes a new meta. I'm UpsetMax, and today we'll be going over some of the best new comps that you should be playing in order to reach your end of set rank. So as per usual, we will start off with our tier list, the 1 cost holds on stage 1 and the stage 2 slams. Then we're going to move into our compositions. So Watcher Zeri Reroll, Family Reroll, Experiment Bruiser Twitch, Automata Kog'maw Reroll, and also Dominator Silco are going to be the 5 comps that we'll be talking in this specific video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below and join the UpsetMax Discord if you learned something today. So let's start off with the meta changes. New / reemerged comps, so Kog'maw Cast Blitz Reroll, Silco Twitch Family Reroll, GP Swain with the 4/4 Reroll, TF playing around the Akali Reroll now, and also Zeri Reroll. These are going to be some of the new / reemerged comps that you should be playing on the current patch. Note that those with an asterisk are ones that require either an emblem, artifact, or an augment to play. Comps that you should generally try to avoid this current patch: for not a reroll, heavily nerfed. Same with Urgot reroll, so these two I'd really try to avoid. Scrap has its spots, especially if you have like trait tracker. However, the nerfs to the 6 scrap shield are quite significant. Moving on to the stage 1 unit tier list. So here we go. In the S, we have Darius, Draven, and Violet. The Family Watcher package is currently really strong due to a lot of buffs, so try to hold these 5 units together if you have this opener with AD items or Rage Blade. Units to try to avoid holding the Visionaries this current patch, and the last thing to note is remember that the value of units increase depending on what stage 1 unit orbs you get dropped. So for example, if it's a good academy and you have Ezreal, this increases the value of Irelia, Smeech increases the value of Singed, and Swain increases the value of your 1 cost Sorks. Moving on to your stage 2-1 item slams now. So S tier, Rageblade Sunfire, really strong slams, strong flexible. A tier are going to be great slams depending on your provided opener. B are going to be good slams, C are going to be rare slams, also depending on your current opener, perhaps you have an augment, etc. And then D are going to be slams that you're very rarely going to be slamming. For example, if you have an Edge of Night and not today, then this would be an example. So let's move on to actual compositions now, starting off with Watcher Zeri Reroll. So level 6 reroll composition, this is going to be a physical damage stall board, and due to the recent buffs to Watcher, where the minimum damage reduction has now been increased at the 4 and 6 breakpoints, Watcher is going to be a lot stronger than the Sentinels, even if you do not have a Firelight +1. In order to interpret these snipers, there was some Twitter calculations where 2 to 4 sniper is going to be a buff, while 6 sniper is going to be a slight nerf. Here's a level 6 board that you're going to be playing. So usually you're going to level to 6 on 3-2, stabilize with this board, which is going to include 4 Watchers, a 2-star Zeri, and also a 2-star Vander if he is holding your items. Zeri BIS is going to be Rageblade plus Gunblade +1. If you are able to get 4 Firelight in, then you definitely want the Infinity Edge. Second Rageblade is fine as well. Vander is going to be holding your Even Shroud, your Sunder, plus 2 tank items. This is going to be your Brambles, Sunfire Cape, Redemption, D-Claw, these are all fine. If you hit a Caitlyn, you're going to eventually end up playing 4 Sniper, 4 Watcher as your final, and if you have a Sniper emblem, you'll be looking to play 6 Sniper and putting this emblem on an Echo or a 6 cost unit. So why is this comp really back? Well, Vander has received a lot of buffs to his AD and also to his resistances, same with Amumu with his flat damage reduction being increased as well. Here's how you're going to look out to cap out this board, and along with the best in slot augments. So Anger Issues is going to be amazing if you can get this on either 3-2 or 4-2. Definitely look out for this. Firelight +1 allows you to play 4 Firelight and get that burst of damage from your flurry of attacks. Pumping up 1, 2, 3 and Exalted Adventure, Immovable Objects, Starry Night Plus, and Sniper Crest and Crown are going to be great as well for this specific composition. And finishing things off with best in slot anomalies, you want to be prioritizing your Zeri with Mini-Me's, Strength Training, Power Up, Brutal Claws, Call the Weak. You can also evolve your frontline, either your Vander 3 or your Scar 3, depending on who is fully upgraded, with Bulwark, Stone Skin, Fortified, some resistances or some HP, and Garen will be taking your HP evolutions, such as the Giant Size and Fortified. So extremely strong reroll composition right now. Definitely give this a try if you have the spot, so like a Rageblade opener and a Zeri, and let me know how it goes. Family is back. Never turn your back on family. This is going to be a level 5 composition and will be a physical damage sustain board. This is back because there has been a lot of pit fighter / conqueror buffs in a row, and also Draven now is going to be a pretty viable duo carry. So as you can see here, the pit fighter heal has been increased, same with the 2 conqueror damage. Here's what your level 5 board is going to look like. First things first, you need to know when to roll. So do not level or roll until stage 3-1. This is going to be right after Krugs. You can roll down to around 32 to 34 gold on level 4, and this is going to be your best chance to see your 1-cost copies. Fly best slot, most of the time you're going to end up building a Bloodthirster for tempo. Titans +1 is going to be your ideal, so either Quicksilver is going to be best, Sterix, Edge of Night, and Hodge are all acceptable as well. Draven is going to be pumping out damage in your backline, so he really wants auto attack based items, so like your Rage Blade, Death Blade, Runons, a second Rage Blade, Giant Slayer, Last Whisper, these are all great. Just don't be building Infinity Edge on Draven as his ability already crits just from his regular auto attack. Aura items will be going on Vander, so even Shroud, Sunfire, Cape, Spark, Redemption, and in regards of unit power, so you don't get bench locked, always be holding your Violet and Dravens essentially. These are going to be better than your Powder, which is going to be equal to about your Darius, and then Vander will be the unit that you can sell if you're getting bench locked. So a couple buffs here to Vander, as mentioned before. Draven gets a little bit more attack speed, and also Powder gets more damage onto her monkey. Violet uses a lot of artifacts, so you should be looking out for Portable Forge, Latent Forge, Living Forge, Loot Sub, Jaces, etc. So here we go. Fishbones and Spectral are going to be her best. So Spectral, you'll be pairing with a BT or Hodge and Infinity Edge. Same idea with Prowlers, as both of these items give you crits. These more melee based items you want to be pairing with BT Titans, while the range artifacts you want to be pairing with Hodge IE, since you'll be safe away from damage and really just be able to pump out a lot more. Sterix and Suspicious Trenchcoat are a little bit unique cases, so Silvermere. So Silvermere you're going to be pairing with your Sterix and your BT, while your Sus Trenchcoat you'll be pairing with your Eon and a Sterix. Here's how you're going to cap your board. So after you hit your Violet 3 and your Draven 3, you're going to be going up in Pit Fighter and eventually capping around your Savika and Vi as well. Keep a lookout for these Portable Forge and your Living Forge, Family +1. Not Today, Movable Object, Welcome to the Playground, and Priz Pipeline are all going to be great augments that you should be choosing for this specific composition. Presence Law Anomalies, Violet is going to be your main carry, so you definitely want to try to evolve her. Ultimate Hero, Bully, Force of Friendship, and Titan of Teamwork you can take if you have a lot of 3 stars, Comeback Story, and Deep Roots if you have no QS and it's a heavy CC lobby. Draven is also an acceptable evolution, so Bully, Force of Friendship, Strength Training, Call the Weak, and Hyper Velocity are all going to be good evolutions on him. Moving on to a 4-cost comp now, so Experiment / Bruiser Twitch. This is going to be a level 8 to 9 composition, physical damage with a backline access scaling composition. So optimally, you want to be playing Twitch if you either have +1 Bruiser, +1 Experiment. If not, then you will have to be playing this composition from a tempo spot and trying to go level 9 and cap around some legendaries. So here's what our level 8 board is going to look like if we have no emblems. So we're going to be playing 5 Experiment, stabilizing with this, and leveling to 8 on 4-2. Of course, we're going to need some Sniper. Normally it's going to be Maddie. Eventually you'll be replacing this with Caitlyn. And then our other +2 is just going to be Elise and Vi. Twitch best in slot, Rage Blade plus Infinity Edge is going to be his core. Your last one can be Red, Giant Slayer, Last Whisper, Runons, or a second Rage Blade as well. In this version, Mundo should be your main tank. Just give him your regular tank items, Sunfire, Warmonk, Redemption, Gargoyle, these are all fine. And in regards of the binding, the frontline Hex, you'll be putting your Mundo on. If the secondary frontline or second row Hex will be your Urgot, and then in your backline will be your Twitch. So here, a couple buffs. So the Twitch Experiment HP damage bonus has been increased. I believe this is also able to crit, which is why Infinity Edge is important on Twitch. Caitlyn gets a little bit of a nerf. Nunu gets a little bit of a buff. Same with Rennie in the Bruiser version. So what are we going to do if we have an experiment +1? Same idea, level to 8 on 4-2, stabilize with 5 experiment. However, now we're able to drop a Zeri. So I can see here we don't have a Zeri. We put the emblem onto the Vi, pair her with some Bruiser items, BT Titan, Sterix Eon, this is fine. Twitch still has the same BIS. And remember, we want to be putting the emblem on the Vi instead of a form swapper, because the form swapper clone from experiment will spawn as a backline version. In regards of tank, since we will not be linking our Mundo anymore, and we'll be binding our Twitch, Urgot, and Vi, you can either put your tank items on your Elise or Mundo, depending on who is 2-starred. Now you might be wondering, what do we play over the Zeri? Well, we have some flex units here: Jace, Mbessa, Tristana, Mordekaiser. These are all fine, even at 6 cost if you're able to hit this early in the game in Victor's Vision. Moving on to the Bruiser variant, same thing, level to 8 on 4-2, stabilized with 6 Bruiser. We're going to be putting the Bruiser emblem onto the Mundo now and pairing him with 2 more tank items, with Elise being our secondary tank as well. Twitch button slot stays the same. In this case, we're just going to be binding the Twitch and the Mundo, and eventually swapping out the Maddie for a Caitlyn. On level 9, we'll be playing a Jace, and depending on what items we have and what we need, we can either backline him or frontline him depending on his items. So here's how we're going to cap out our board and our BIS Augments. So in the experiment version, extremely strong. Also remember to look out for your experiment Bruiser Crest and Crown. Collector is a great artifact onto Twitch. Pumping up 1, 2, 3, Coronation, you can put the crown on Twitch. The mutation survives, you'll be sacrificing a Zeri, Piercing Lotus, and Removable Object are all great as well. So definitely keep an eye out for this composition, and if you do not have any of these emblems, make sure you're playing this from a win streak spot and not a lose streak position. BIS Anomalies, Twitch is going to be dealing the majority of damage within this composition, so you will want to be evolving your Twitch. Mini-Me's, Strength Training, Touch of Frost, Brutal Claws, Power of Dragon, Soul, Call of the Week are all going to be great. One thing to remember with Touch of Frost, you will lack damage from not having a damage-based evolution, so make sure you can only take this if you have a duo carry. In your frontline, it'll either be your Elise 2 or your Mundo 2, depending on what you have at the time. So either giving them some HP-based ones, or some resistance-based ones, or even team-based shielding are all going to be ideal. Okay, moving on to Automata Kog'Maw reroll now. This is going to be a level 7 reroll composition, and this will be a magic damage stall board. So you'll be wanting to play this composition from 2 conditions, either a Kog'Maw artifact or if you have Automata +1. So a couple of buffs here, Automata being increased at the 4 and 6 breakpoints for the resistances, Blitzcrank having a larger shield, and also Mubu having his flat damage reduction increased as well. This is what your level 7 board is going to look like. So you'll be leveling 7 on either 3, 5, or 4, 1, depending on how rich you are, how stable your board is, and stabilize with 4 Automata plus some frontline. Let's move on to the Kog'Maw BIS. So first off, you should most of the time only be playing this composition if you have a Kog'Maw artifact. And let's say you have the Lichbane, you want to be pairing this with the blue buff and the Shojin. If you have the Wit's End, you want to pair this with the Rage Blade and the Archangel. And if you have a Gamblers, you want to pair this with another Rage Blade and a Gunblade. Let's say you don't have any of this, but you have Automata +1, just really good start, etc. Your base 3 builds will be your Rage Blade, Archangel, and your Gunblade. So ignore this, sorry about that. Blitz, Crown Guard, Steadfast are going to be very good on him. So Blitzcrank scales extremely well with AP. And because of your start of combat shield, either from Dominator or the Crown Guard, you'll be able to make pretty good use of the damage reduction of Steadfast. His last one will be Spark, Bramble, Sunfire, or Vow. And the last thing about this composition is you don't actually need to fit in Sniper unless you have no better units to play at the time. Here's how you're going to cap out your board with eventually fitting in this Mordekaiser as well. If you hit a Mel, then you definitely want to be moving the Automata emblem over onto the Mel along with a blue buff. BIS Augments, Portable Forge, Living Forge, all that shimmers, anything to get a artifact onto your Kog'Maw, same with Shimmer Scale Essence. Automata +1 will allow you to hit that 6 Automata and give you that large spike in both damage and resistance. Same with pumping up 1, 2, 3 will really allow you to scale well into the late game. You want to be evolving your Blitzcrank or some frontline units, preferably within this composition, because we are a stall comp, so the longer our frontline is able to tank and stay alive, the more damage our backline is able to do. So Blitzcrank, Bulwark, Fortified, Protective Shielding, Defense Expert with 4 to 6 Automata, and also Deep Roots are all going to be great on him. If you already have a strong enough frontline and are lacking some damage, you can go for the Kog'maw one. Magic Training, Hyper Velocity, 1000 Cuts, and Cultivating Magic will be acceptable on Kog'maw. And moving on to our final composition of the day, Dominator Silco. This is going to be kind of the re-emerged composition after a lot of buffs. A level 8 to 9 composition, you'll be playing this from a tempo spot because you'll want to be saving HP and going level 9 for that Mordekaiser. And this is also a magic damage stall board. So a couple of buffs here, not only to the Blitzcrank shield, but also to the Cassiopeia damage, and also to the actual Silco damage as well. You have 2 level boards that you could play depending on whether or not you high roll the Mordekaiser. So regardless, level to 8 on stage 4-2, stabilize with one of these boards. If you hit the Mordekaiser, you are able to play 6 Dominator, and then just fit in some Black Rose units. If you do not, which is going to be most of the case, you can just play 4 Dominator, end up playing this Swain, Elise, Garen as your main tank, and Vladimir as well. Silco has 2 builds that you can go around with, either Shojin ×2 plus a Nashers, or the Shojin Guardbreaker Jewel Gauntlet. Mundo in the top board is going to be our secondary tank, with Garen being our main tank. So in this case, you will just want to be giving Garen the main HP tank items, and then Mundo some of your supportive items. However, in Dominator Vertical, you're going to be main tanking your Mundo, with also a Spark plus 2 additional tank items as well. This is what your final board is going to look like, fitting in LeBlanc here and really allowing her to deal more damage as well with her supportive chains, and Mordekaiser being our secondary main carry. Dominator +1 is going to be great in this composition. We're able to drop the Ziggs and Dominator the LeBlanc. Mana Flow, Immovable Object, Glass Cannon, getting some damage amp on our backline is going to be also really strong. Trait, what could have been Vander plus Silco, both have been getting a lot of buffs this current patch and pumping up as well. Any econ augment that will allow us to stay on tempo and eventually go level 9 is going to be ideal in this composition, because we really need to hit Mordekaiser or else we will have a high chance of bot 4ing and being outscaled. And our final anomaly slide of the day, Silco, is going to be our evolution. Any mana on him, such as Nothing Wasted or Killstreak, Comeback Story for some damage amp, Magic Expert as well, and Touch of Frost will be good on Silco. If you, let's say you have a Mordekaiser at the time and only Silco 1, you can also evolve the Mordekaiser as long as he has either an Edgenite or a QS. Stone Skin, Last Chance, Legacy of Shurima, Deep Roots, Invisibility, and Bulwark are going to be good on him as well. If you're going just with the 4 Dominator version, by the way, you can evolve the Garen. Just make sure to give Garen your HP based ones, such as Giant Size or Fortified, for maximum value from his Emissary. And that's it for today. So I'll do a quick recap of everything we talked about, and then I will be uploading this online. So today we're going to talk about the 5 best compositions that you should be climbing, the 5 best new ones. So Watcher Zeri, Family Reroll, Experiment Bruiser Twitch, Automata Kog'maw Reroll, and Dominator Silco are going to be pretty strong on this current patch. Just you need to know what position to play which one in, and how to cabo your board, and who to evolve. So that's been everything for today. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. So best of luck in your end of rank season climb, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day and take care.